Hey everybody, this is Brian with Bear Cards 34. Today I have a mail day video. It is the 1986 McDonald's Chicago Bears team set. If you guys remember, I did this all-star video of some cards that I've had in my collection for quite some time now. I always really enjoyed the collection. Have you guys ever had that though, where you bust out old cards and it just starts to get you wanting to get something else? And so anyway, I really thought about the Bears team set and how I would really love to add that to the collection as well. So I was able to find one with a similar black background. If you guys remember, they came out with these for 4 weeks straight, and each week had a different color on the tab here, and you would scratch those off and you could win food prizes at McDonald's. So you could like scratch that off and get a free cheeseburger, things like that. So this one is designated by the All-Star team. All the other team sets don't have, obviously, the logo here. So because the Bears in 1985 had won the Super Bowl championship, the Bears cards have that logo on it, which I love. You know, that personalizes it for me as a Bears fan. And the team set, is, there's over 20 cards in this set, and each team has about that as well. Okay, so we're going to start things off here. This is Mark Bortz. This is, I don't know what you would call this, a pre-rookie card. So this is before any of his trading cards had come out. But this Mark Bortz right here I really love, because you see Walter right behind him here. And that's something that Mark Bortz was great at, was blocking for Payton. And so Mark Bortz, in 1985, the year that was highlighted in the 1986 set, he helped the Bears lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns and rushing yards per game. And obviously a big part of that was Payton as well. Next up, we've got Maury Buford, the punter. They had traded for him. I think, he was with the Chargers initially. They traded for him during the 1985 season. In 85, he had a 69-yard punt. Very reliable punter for quite a few years, but a good player, and definitely glad to have that one as well. And his special team buddy, Kevin Butler, right here, who was just fantastic as a rookie. So this card came out the same year as his Topps rookie card did. And so for Kevin Butler, he set a lot of Bears kicking records. He was all rookie team as a kicker. Great season. 4th round draft pick because he was so good in college. And he had 3 field goals in Super Bowl 20. Next up, we've got Jim Covert, recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. And after the 85 season, he was an All-Pro, first-team All-Pro. And then we've got Richard Dent, the Super Bowl MVP for Super Bowl 20. Hall of Famer as well. He had back-to-back forced fumbles in the Super Bowl early on in the game, what really set the tone. And in 1985, he led the NFL in sacks with 17. So this was coming off his best season of his great career. And here's a card that I really love. You can see Duerson really going airborne. The late Dave Duerson, just a really great player. He also made the Pro Bowl after the 85 season and had a lot of really successful years with the Bears before heading over to the Giants later in his career. And right here, Gary Fensick, he, just like Walter Payton, was one of those players who came out in the 70s and was on some really bad Chicago Bears teams. So just like Payton, it was really nice to see Fensick get a championship and be able to be with that team through the rough times and then into the Super Bowl. He led the Bears in tackles in 1985, and he also forced a fumble in the Super Bowl as well. Next up, we've got speedster Willie Gault, who was the Bears' top wide receiver during the 1985 season and for quite a few years. He is also a great kick returner. In fact, in 1985, the year they won the Super Bowl, he was second in the NFL in kickoff return yard per return. And in the Super Bowl, he had a great game. He only had 4 catches, but he had 129 yards in that. And that included a catch of over 40 yards and a catch that was like 60, maybe even more than 60 yards. So he had a great game that year as well, that Super Bowl. Next up, we've got the Danimal, Dan Hampton, one of my favorite Chicago Bears players. Another Hall of Famer, and he also recovered a fumble in the Super Bowl. The game was 3-3 when he recovered that, and he also had a quarterback sack, just a really good Super Bowl. Made the Pro Bowl that year, and in the Pro Bowl, he had 2 sacks in 1986 after the 85 season. And then we've got Jay Hilgenberg, just a very, very solid center. His Topps rookie card, I believe, was also this year, 1986. He started way back in 81, but this season, after the 85 season, was his first Pro Bowl. Definitely not his last, but happy to have that card as well. And then we have Ken Marjoram. He doesn't have a lot of cards. I believe he's in the 1982 set. That was a really good year for him. But he caught a couple passes in the Super Bowl as well. And then we got Wilber Marshall. This is another picture that I really like with him running with the ball there. Wilber Marshall, again, a player who had a 1986 Topps rookie card. So this kind of coincides with that. He had a great season that year, very disruptive, and one of the Bears' best defensive players during his time there for sure. Then we've got the Jim McMahon, the punky QB known as McMahon. And if you remember, he also has a card in the All-Star team set. So they are the same picture, just a different logo there to designate he was with the Super Bowl championship Bears as well as part of the All-Star team. He did make the Pro Bowl after that great Super Bowl season. He had 2 touchdowns in Super Bowl 20 as well. And one of the cards that they have, these are Super Bowl superstars. They made this for the Chicago Bears and the Patriots as well. And I really love that picture. You can really see his, crazy eyes there, his intensity. So nice to have that from the same year. So, they had the Topps cards, the McDonald's cards, and also these superstars that would have police information, just to kind of educate kids of what to do in case of emergencies. Next up, another player who is loved by the Chicago Bears, Steve McMichael. Definitely wishing him well these days. But yeah, he was a great player, great character, underrated. And, Buddy Ryan just loved him. Mike Ditka really respected him as well. He was just a great, great player who really helped some of those other legendary Bears players excel because of his play on the field. He actually sacked Steve Grogan in the third quarter of Super Bowl 20 on a pretty memorable play. And then we've got Emery Moorhead, the Bears' starting tight end for the Super Bowl. He was the second leading receiver for the Bears in 1985. He had a few years with the Giants and then moved over to the Bears and was part of that Super Bowl run. And then Walter Payton also had the All-Star team card, just like McMahon, in addition to his Super Bowl 20 championship card. And Walter Payton, of course, just my all-time favorite player. The Bear card's 34. The 34 is for this guy right here. And Sweetness also had one of those Superstars cards, and I love that picture of Walter. I think that's a great one right there. He made his 8th Pro Bowl after the 85 season. Also went to the Pro Bowl the year these cards came out in 1986. And he ran for over 1,500 yards in 85 and also led the team with 49 receptions as well. So a very versatile player for sure. And then we've got William the Refrigerator Perry. This is one of my favorite cards of the 1986 set. And you know what I noticed as I was looking at it? It actually has a couple creases here at the bottom. So I may have to get myself an upgrade of the William the Refrigerator Perry rookie card, because that's one of my all-time favorite cards. But right here we've got this. So that same year, we have the William the Refrigerator, and I like that they put Refrigerator Perry as part of that McDonald's set. And he also had another card that year. This is the Superstars police card of William Perry, which I love. That's graded a PSA 9. But that's also one of my favorite cards. I remember I had been doing a video, and one of my viewers mentioned this set to me. I had never even heard of it, so I had to get the team set. And I saw a pretty good price on this one, this graded Perry card, so I decided to throw that into the mix as well. And then next up, we've got Mike Richardson, known as L.A. Mike, in the Super Bowl Shuffle. He had 4 interceptions during the 85 season, leading to the Bears Super Bowl. And he had 174 return yards on those 4 receptions, including a touchdown. So Mike Richardson there. One of my all-time favorite Bears, Mike Singletary, another Hall of Famer. Really a leader on this team. And, I kind of think about this a little bit. Just how great it was for the Bears to have these two anchors, on offense to have Walter Payton and on defense to have a guy like Mike Singletary, just two of the all-time greats. But not just as players, just, their leadership abilities and the respect they garnered throughout the team and the league was just something special, I think. So I was very happy to get that Singletary card. And, he also, had a great Super Bowl. He had 2 fumble recoveries in that game. And in 1985, he was the Defensive Player of the Year. Next up, we've got Matt Suhey. And Matt Suhey was basically Walter Payton's best friend until the day Walter died. And despite Walter having over 1,500 yards rushing in the 1985 season, Suhey almost had 500 rushing yards of his own, and he had 33 receptions. He rushed for 52 yards in Super Bowl 20, and he scored a touchdown. So that was, I think, his best season as well. Then we've got Tom Thayer, Notre Dame, go Notre Dame. This is his pre-rookie card, and he was an all-rookie, part of the all-rookie team in 85. Played his first couple years, actually, with the Chicago Blitz before moving over to the Chicago Bears, and very glad he did. And then another great lineman, Keith Van Horn. This is a kind of a pre-rookie card of his as well. I believe his first card was 1989 Topps Traded, and so it's nice to get this early pre-rookie card. He was a big part of the Bears' rushing attack with Peyton, and then later with Neil Anderson as well. And then we've got Mama's boy Otis, who, according to him, is one of a kind. And he had 2 sacks in Super Bowl 20. He was a Pro Bowler in 1985 as well. He had 11.5 sacks during that 85 season. So just a great player. And doesn't it seem, maybe it's just me, it seems like almost every defensive player had multiple sacks, fumble recoveries. I mean, they just dominated. And yeah, they were just a lot of fun to watch. And then the final card right here is Tim Reitman, tight end. So he was a 3rd-round pick back in 82 for the Bears, but he ended up signing with the Chicago Blitz and played in the USFL. He only had 2 years with Chicago during the 85 and 86 season, but the 85 year, he had 400 yards as an NFL rookie that year, and he averaged over 17 yards a catch. So he was a big part of that offense. Just didn't really do much in 86 and then was kind of out of it after that. But, again, this set I just think is a lot of fun, just having some of these NFL icons, some of my all-time favorite players from my childhood. So I'm very happy to pick that up. And I will mention, I do, if you're ever wondering, these are larger. Obviously, if you kind of take a look at that, they are larger than the NFL card, which can make it a little bit hard to store. But they do have these extra large, plastic folders, and so they fit in there pretty nicely. So you really could put these in some nice folders and into a binder and keep them in pretty good condition that way. But anyway, that's going to do it for today. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos in the near future. And as always, go Bears.